peer worker is a person with a lived experience of a mental health challenge, or in my case, a peer worker is a lived experience with a drug and alcohol challenge. I'm also in recovery, so I've actually worked on my recovery to get to where I am, and I utilise that lived experience to actually support people on their journey. I see it as a supportive and advocating role. So I'm there to actually empower our consumers to actually support them through their own recovery. I'm also there, I see my role as also aligning with all of our peer values, like hope and recovery, compassion, understanding, respect, equality, empowerment, mutuality. So all of those things are really important. So it's being able to align with those values. And with my role, I see it as sort of listening to other people's personal experiences and sharing the bits of mine that I feel that are going to be beneficial to their recovery. I think in the first couple of minutes there, it's about trying to build that rapport with our consumers. Like actually sitting back and asking them, who are they? What's happening for them? Just seeing what they need at that particular point of time, whether it's space, whether it's someone to chat to, whether it's information, just let them be the leader of their recovery plan. A few that I've come across, I've been a peer worker for nearly 12 years, and like one of the major ones is role strain. Because as a peer worker there, sometimes you're the only peer worker on board. So you need to be able to prioritise, and I find too, sort of in the services, there's a lack of supervision, which is really, really needed as far as peer workers go. Also, role conflict. So me as a mum, sometimes my role conflicts as to my role as a peer worker. So it's about finding that balance, because both roles to me are really important. But sometimes you need to make the choice of where you're going to go with that. And also role conflict as well is a real big one as well, because sometimes with our clinicians, they forget that we're peer workers, that we have that lived experience, and they ask us to do stuff or tasks that are outside our scope of practice. And it's about knowing and putting your boundaries in and saying, no, I can't do that. But sometimes it gets a bit grey. So so you've got to find that balance. Becoming a peer worker is a great opportunity to have a voice. It's also a great place where you can actually let your consumers know that they also have a voice, and they need to be able to voice what they need to and be part of their treatment plan. I think, it's a very fulfilling role. I've found through the years that I actually learn about myself as well. So any peer workers come through, they say, over a period of time, I'm actually learning more about myself and more about my recovery and more what I want to put into that recovery. Look, for anybody coming through the system that wants to give back and that wants to make a change for the better, I think peer work is the way to go. And anybody who wants to take that on board, they need to give themselves that opportunity, because it is very fulfilling. ask them to let you be a part of our consumers' treatment. Embrace our lived experience, utilise that so we can get really good outcomes for our consumers. Are working together, and it's always been my mantra. When clinical and non-clinical come together, that's when we do get the best outcomes for not only our consumers, but we also get it for our carers and family members. And it's good for our clinicians as well, because they can actually learn as well that the importance of having a peer worker working with them. Couple of really good outcomes over the period of time I've been working. I've actually had a couple of the consumers that I was supporting. They're actually now become peer workers, one in the non-government organisation, but also one as part of our team. So, it's sort of, I showed them the role modelling there, and they sort of took that on board and said, yes, that's what I want to do as well. And they worked hard, and and to have them working with me now it's just a great feeling. With some of my consumers, when they are struggling, it's about just trying to allow them to maybe think, that, I don't know if you've heard the saying, this too shall pass, and it's about letting them know that this is only temporary, and like allow yourself to have these feelings, these emotions, just hang in there and sort of give it the best you can, but just be kind to yourself, because sometimes we forget that self-compassion, and just allowing them to be where they're at, and just sitting with them and just being there with them. Yeah, each day there with some of the consumers there, and some actually doing their own lived experience talks there, and it gives me that it gives me that hope that everything is going to be okay. It's a feeling that I'm not on my own, even as a peer worker, and hoping that they're feeling the same way. That somebody actually gets me, and that's what I've been told by some of our consumers as well. Talking to a peer worker, they find that that actually someone gets them and they're willing to engage, where sometimes they disengage because they don't feel like they're being heard. My role as a peer worker, it's been a fantastic opportunity. I've met some beautiful, wonderful people coming through in the last 12 years, and to be able to be part of making a change and actually allowing that lived experience being part of the treatment for our consumers, it just overwhelms me on many occasions. But I love being a peer worker, and anybody that wants to take that on board and become a peer worker, go for it, because it is important and it does fulfill your life.